Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel where skincare is all about progression over perfection because perfection doesn't exist. And welcome to another When Beauty Turns Ugly. Today's video is going to be about Neutrogena. Neutrogena, we all know Neutrogena. Neutrogena. I feel like if you are a user of skincare in general, you would have used a Neutrogena product at some point in your life. For me, I use a lot of their skincare products as a teenager. You know, they were next to kind of like Clearasil and Clean and Clear in the skincare aisle. And they're kind of more known for their Hydra Boost range, which a lot of people really, really love and is actually really half decent. I feel like they've got a real resurgence recently because a lot of dermatologists recommend them over on Instagram. No, TikTok. Now, Neutrogena isn't actually as old as I thought they were. I thought they were one of those brands that were like invented in like the 1800s. But according to their website, Neutrogena was founded by Manny, aka Emmanuel Stolaroff, who used to actually manufacture cosmetics for really big skincare and makeup brands at the time, in around the 1930s. However, in the 1950s, he took a little trip around Europe, but it was when he reached Belgium that he met a chemist called Edmond Fromont, who was making this non-alkaline soap, meaning that it wasn't as harsh and stripping, and you know when your skin feels really tight after you've had to use like the hotel soap because you forgot the cleanser. He was making a soap that stopped all of that. And thinking this was an amazing invention, which it was at the time, it's incredible. Manny was like, I want to buy the US distribution rights to this soap for his company, which is called Natone at the time. Now, this was a time when people were using like really stripping soaps and astringents to cleanse their face. So this soap came at the perfect time and they named it Neutrogena and they would sell it for £1, which at the time, bearing in mind other soaps were being sold for 10 pence, £1 was a lot. It was a lot of money. So whilst it wasn't only for the rich and wealthy, you had to have a bit of spare money going in order to buy this amazing Neutrogena soap. There was a sort of like air of slight luxury about it. So the whole brand renamed itself Neutrogena in the 60s and was only really used amongst like the Hollywood elite, like makeup artists and cosmetologists, as well as pushed through dermatologists, being the original #1 dermatologist recommended skincare product before CeraVe. And they were actually one of the first people to make sunscreen in moisturizer, like a 2-in-1, in answer to the sunbed tanning hell that was the 70s. Now, they were already, of course, a very, very popular brand. But for me, I feel like it was the 90s and early noughties that the brand kind of became iconic, I would say, primarily due to the adverts of celebrities, usually young teenage celebrities, all claiming to use the brand and doing the iconic like fucking up the bathroom splash of water. One of the best like cleansing visuals I think of all time ever. But here's the thing, I had some bad experience with their products as a teenager. And back then it was all about stripping your skin of every single bit of life it had. And to this day, in my opinion, they still sell products that I believe belong in the 90s, including 2 products we're going to talk about today. One of them is supposedly so bad that it ended in a lawsuit. It's early 2015. That musical, Hamilton, that everyone won't shut the fuck up about, debuted on stage. And the iconic K-pop groups like GFriend, Twice, and Monsta X also made their debut. It's also the year Lori Elizabeth Enns thought that she would give Neutrogena's oil-free acne pink grapefruit foam scrub a go when staying at her sister's house. Enns is a holistic therapist from Canada. She said herself that she has used Neutrogena cleansers, scrubs, pretty much all her life without any issue whatsoever. So when she was staying at her sister's house and saw this grapefruit scrub in her sister's cupboard, she was like, great, perfect. It's a brand I know, I love, I trust. She particularly liked Neutrogena products for removing heavy makeup. And when it came to scrubs, now it's not the best thing to do, but she liked scrubbing around her eyes to remove her makeup. Not recommended. Not recommended at all, actually. She cleansed her face, went to bed, had a very good night's sleep. She slept for like 11 hours straight, she said, but woke up still feeling very tired. She said her eyes felt heavy and tired, and she felt weird all day right up until she went to sleep again. However, this night, she didn't have such a great night's sleep, waking up in the middle of the night with a severe burning sensation on her face. She felt hot, her skin felt tight, and she couldn't really open her eyes at all. So thinking, oh my god, I'm going blind, she runs to the mirror, and this is what she saw in the reflection. And it only got worse over the next few days, with her eyes swelling up even more and her skin starting to crust and flake off. Of course, she went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, this is obviously an allergic reaction to something. Like, have you eaten anything that's triggered this severe reaction? Have you used anything new? And really not thinking about the Neutrogena face scrub, because she uses Neutrogena every single day, she couldn't really tell the doctor, she couldn't really think about what it was that had caused this reaction. She even mentioned to the doctor that she has used Neutrogena scrubs before, St. Ives apricot scrub before, with no issues whatsoever. So she really didn't think this cleanser was the issue. She was prescribed prednisone, I think it's pronounced, which is something that's prescribed for severe allergic reactions and eye drops. Now, a little bit later, she was kind of thinking about her face and what's happened to her. And she was like, it's really like focused around my eyes. And they remembered how much she used the scrub, the grapefruit oil acne, whatever it's called, Neutrogena face scrub around her eyes, put two and two together, and was like, shit, like it's the grapefruit scrub. She was like, I can't be alone in this. Like this, I can't be the only one who's had such a severe reaction to this face wash. So she goes online and starts looking at all these reviews, and ENDS wasn't alone. By far, there was countless negative reviews about this face wash supposedly, for legal reasons, causing this reaction. Kaylin from Texas left a review saying, I purchased the oil-free Neutrogena Pink Grapefruit Face Scrub. I used it that night, and in the morning, later, throughout the day, my face was burning, itching, and getting so rough. Christina of Washington also left a review saying the day after using it, my face and neck was red, stinging, and sensitive, itchy and peeling all over. And it looks itchy and painful. Another reviewer even said that the scrub landed her in hospital. After she couldn't open her mouth, she couldn't eat. Her mouth was so swollen. They were like, you need to go and see a dermatologist. She then had to have a shot in her bum to take down the swelling from this severe reaction to, supposedly, Neutrogena's grapefruit acne foaming wash scrub, whatever it's called. Do you remember a while ago, like literally just came to mind, that girl who said she used a Neutrogena scrub and one of the beads got caught in her face? Do you remember that? I can't remember what the video of that was. I'll link that below. Now, BuzzFeed actually reached out to Neutrogena of all people and asked for a statement. Neutrogena said all of our products are safe and effective when used as directed. Skin irritation and dryness is more likely to occur if you use another topical acne medication at the same time. Now, none of these people said either way if they were using any other medication alongside the grapefruit scrub, but it is a good reminder of to really read the labels of what you're using, read the directions, warnings that come with your medication, but also to do a patch test. Now, obviously not everyone is going to have this reaction to a product, but some people have more sensitive skin than others. And if you do know you have sensitive skin, it is important to do a patch test on your skin before using anything new. Now, I mentioned that there's an actual lawsuit involved with this, so let's get into it. The lawsuit is between Jamie Potts versus Neutrogena Corporation. July 2022, volcanoes are found on Venus. I didn't know that. Did you know that? But also, a vaccine for COVID-19 had been developed by the University of Oxford. But more importantly, this is the day that several women joined together to sue Neutrogena after they experienced what they call severe burning sensations on their skin after using their face wipes. It's important to note that this lawsuit was first brought to Neutrogena in 2020 by Jamie Potts on her own, but as the lawsuit went on, more and more people joined this lawsuit, and by 2022, 7 other people had joined the lawsuit, with 7 different types of their face wipes being included in this lawsuit. They all experienced burning of their skin. So from here on out, when I say face wipes, we are including their ultra soft makeup removal wipes for waterproof makeup remover cleansing towelettes fragrance free, Neutrogena Naturals purifying makeup remover cleansing towelettes, makeup remover cleansing towelettes night calming, deep clean oil free makeup remover cleansing wipes, deep clean purifying micellar cleansing towelettes, and makeup remover cleansing towelettes hydrating. So basically all of them. So So the original sewer, Jamie Potts, had bought these face wipes from her daughter after seeing they were on a bit of a sale at Costco. I love Costco so much. I miss it so much. I never needed anything from there. But Potts claims that pretty much instantly after using these wipes, her daughter started to experience a really bad burning sensation on her skin that followed with peeling and dryness. Another woman who was part of the lawsuit, Kim Malzko, claims that she bought some Neutrogena face wipes, makeup wipes, remover wipes, whatever wipe version it was, for her daughter as a little stocking stuffer for Christmas. This was back in 2017. Again, pretty much instantly after using these wipes as instructed, her daughter started to develop really dry, burning areas of skin, and I feel like I can kind of know where these are. It doesn't say this in the lawsuit, but whenever I'm forced to use makeup wipes, I get a dry, stinging sensation around the nose, around the lips, in the corners of my eyes. Her daughter was unaware that it was the wipes that was causing this, so she carried on using the wipes into February of 2018, so a couple of months she'd been using these wipes for. During these months, her daughter's skin got worse very, very quickly. Those dry patches that she initially experienced when she first started using the wipes started to turn into hard, bumpy skin that eventually started to peel. So Kim Malzko took her daughter to the doctor finally, and the doctor was like, oh my god, stop using those wipes. Stop using those wipes. She got the prescription she needed, again, for severe allergic reactions, but it wasn't until 6 months later that her daughter's skin actually started to heal up and look normal, somewhat normal again. So everyone was suing because they were like, what the fuck, Neutrogena? Your packaging literally says, safe for sensitive skin, gentle, ultra soft, safe to use around the delicate eye area, and even use language to make consumers believe that the products were allergy tested. And this is what the lawsuit basically goes on to shame Neutrogena for, is using this really, really super misleading language. And I feel in the skincare world we're used to it, and we poo-poo a lot of claims dermatologists tested, etc., etc. But to an average everyday consumer, it can be really, really confusing. And as I said, they suggested that these products were allergy tested, and the only warning on the packaging was to not flush them down a toilet. Now, Neutrogena made a statement saying, we are deeply concerned about recent Neutrogena makeup remover wipe complaints, and ask that if consumers experience an adverse reaction, please call us at the number or send us a DM at Neutrogena. Immediately, as we gather more information and get answers, our brand promise we will respond to every complaint as soon as we have more information to share. Now, Neutrogena did try to shoo this lawsuit out of court, but the judge was like, no. The judge on this case, Judge Wolfson, saying that Neutrogena and Johnson & Johnson, who Neutrogena are owned by, had a duty to warn them of even rare and unusual reactions to these wipes. And the judge was like, we know you've refunded all these customers, but that's not a reason to dismiss this case and say it's all been dealt with. Now, despite the judge refusing to dismiss the lawsuit, the plaintiffs did run into a few issues. To cut a very long legal story short that I don't really understand, the judge trimmed a lot of the lawsuit out, cutting out the neglect and unjust enrichment claims, which the plaintiffs were relying on to, get their refunds or whatever it is that they wanted. So this meant that they all had to go back to the drawing board with their lawyers and rewrite this lawsuit and work out their claims. Usually there's a huge settlement amount. People are like, oh, we demand millions and millions and millions. And I remember seeing a 5 million figure, but I believe all they want is everyone who purchased Neutrogena makeup wipes of any variant between a certain time frame to be able to just get a refund and get their money back. But for Neutrogena to also label their products what they deem as appropriately and put safety hazards on there. A possible allergy warning, which I feel I don't know if I agree with, because anybody can have an allergy to any skincare product. And again, that's why you do patch tests. And I wonder if Neutrogena said to do that on their packaging or not. If we're going to start putting allergy warnings on stuff, we should put it on everything, because anyone can have an allergy to anything. Now, Dr. Nina Shapiro, author of the book Hype, A Doctor's Guide to Medical Myths, Exaggerated Claims, and Bad Advice, spoke to the New York Post about this lawsuit and was basically like, don't freak out about these claims. You'll be fine if you're using Neutrogena wipes and your skin is fine with them. Not everybody is going to have these same reactions. and reminds people that your cosmetics are safe. I do find it strange that, you know, everybody has had very bad reactions to these wipes. If you go onto TikTok now to this date and look at Neutrogena wipes, you see a lot of people complaining about their reactions to them. They are stingy. They're stingy, you know. I believe this lawsuit is still going on. Been a long time, guys. Like, you know, there's no conclusion to it, I'm afraid. Honestly, I just feel like just, you know, be careful with what you're using. Know your skin. A lot of people are lucky enough to know when they have an allergy or they're going to react to something. But I'll be honest, I do think these wipes are especially shit. I've used them before and they're painful. They're also in Harper's Bazaar's like skincare routine videos a lot. Like questionably a lot, and I always do wonder if they were a secret sponsor of the Go to Bed with Me Harper's Bazaar series. I don't know, just an idea. I don't know. Before I finish this video, I really quickly want to talk about possibly one of the worst products to come out of Neutrogena's catalog. Their Light Therapy Acne Mask. I love LED therapy, but this mask is absolutely ridiculous. So in August of 2019, Neutrogena voluntarily recalled their LED light therapy acne mask thing, stating that their LED mask may cause transient eye pain or irritation, tearing, blurry vision, seeing spots, or changes to color in vision. Now, this was from something like 0.02% of complaints that they received from the mask. So it was a very small percentage, but they recalled it being extra cautious. I guess maybe they didn't want another lawsuit on their hand just yet. And I always believe whatever eye mask you have, don't open your eyes, cover your eyes, use caution. But that's not the reason this was probably the most ridiculous product around. So for £35, you could buy the mask itself. And it came with this little remote, which they called their activator. So you got one free with a mask. However, what this remote did was made sure you could only use this LED mask 30 times. And then you couldn't use it anymore. So then you had to re-buy an activator. The activators were about £15 ago, which may sound a bit like budget friendly at first. £35 for a mask, LED mask, is pretty decent compared to other prices nowadays. But when you kind of like add it all up, you may as well just spend a couple of hundred on a decent LED mask. I don't think the LED mask was selling that great anyway. There's also a trend of how to hack the Neutrogena activator to basically use as an on and off switch instead of just like an activator. You know, the activators were where they really wanted to make their money with this mask, but it was ridiculous. It was like daylight robbery. It was too expensive, so I'm glad people found a hack. But yeah, I'm not overly fussed with Neutrogena. I think their products are very good, affordable, and easy accessible. I have to remind people at the end of all these videos, just because certain people have had issues with a certain brand's product doesn't mean these products are bad and you should never use them and that you're going to have the same reaction. Also, just because there's a lawsuit, it doesn't mean that, again, the brand has been negligent or the products aren't safe or anything like that. I just think these are interesting stories to see what's gone on in the world of cosmetics, right? But yeah, let me know what you think. If you've ever had a reaction to those face wipes, I know my face gets stingy. You can check out all the products I used today and short descriptions of why I'm using it in the description box down below. Affiliate links are clearly marked. You can watch the rest of When Beauty Turns Ugly here. Some general light entertainment here, and I'll see you over there.